Welcome to There Is a Method to the Madness. My name is Rob Maxwell. I'm an exercise physiologist and personal trainer. I'm the owner of Maxwell's fitness programs, and I've been in business since 1994. That is 30 years. I want to start out by thanking our sponsors, our very first sponsors, Jonathan and Lynn Gilden of the Gilden Group at Realty Pros. They have over 280 5-star reviews on Zillow. That is pretty darn good, ladies and gentlemen. Every time I open up Instagram, they've sold another house. That's pretty good considering that home sales seem to be declining just a little bit, and that's when we need the professionals the most. So give them a shout at 386-451-2412. All right, so today I want to talk to you a little bit about starting some new fitness trends. Actually, not really starting them, but let's see what we can do about maybe extending some or making some better. If you get our emails, which hopefully you all do because we try to send out some pearls of wisdom most days of the week, you saw last week I talked about the fitness trends going on worldwide. And number one in 2023 for the United States was wearable technology. So that means things like Garmin watches and Apple watches and all that good stuff. And, there's nothing wrong with that, of course. I wear one. I mean, they're nice little tools and everything. But I would like to see us, maybe make some other issues our number one trend, And one of them that I think can really, really help, and I saw a little bit of it. I mean, it wasn't definitely in the top 10, but it was alluding to some socialization with fitness activities. I think that would be a great thing, and it helps so much. It helps the individuals, helps the area, helps society. Like, I would like to see that get trending in the right direction, wherever you live. And I like looking at the statistics for this podcast, and, like you would expect, most of the listeners are local to Volusia County, but I do get them everywhere, including worldwide, which I think is really cool to look at. So wherever you are, I mean, wouldn't it be great if your area really had a lot more fitness stuff going on? I mean, that would be awesome. But my belief system is that the only way we increase that is by participating in what we already have. And we do have a lot. I'm sure where you are, you have a lot. We have a lot. And I would just love to see people participate in their own local fitness events. And of course, I strongly believe that in all areas. I mean, being a small business owner, I mean, if you don't frequent your small business owners, your locations, your businesses where you live, I mean, don't complain when they're no longer in business. I mean, it really takes that. It's hard to compete with national corporations and things like that, right? And I think we all know the pros of your local businesses, right? So if we want whatever we like, whatever you like to stick around, you're going to have to, quote, shop there. You're going to have to spend your money there. If they're in business, they're going to need your support. So I would love to see people really start going to more local fitness events. And in my area here in Volusia County, we get a lot of 5Ks, runs, walks. We get a lot of, we get some longer distance races like 10Ks and 15Ks and then half marathons and marathons. And we get some, actually we don't. We get like one triathlon now that comes to the area as part of the Clash series, but a lot of them don't come anymore. So we used to have the Y-Tri from the YMCA for Ormond, and then they had one for Port Orange. We had another business that put on some local events, and he got a little bit older, so he doesn't do those anymore. We had, I believe, what was called a Tiger Shark local triathlon here for a while. We had some of the old Coca-Cola Publix races come to town like 2 decades ago, but now we only have one triathlon. So, like everything in business, I mean, if there's no customers, people aren't going to come. I mean, they can't afford to. So, what does that say when we no longer have but one local triathlon? It says that the locals aren't supporting the ones that were here. I mean, we could look at both sides. Somebody could say, well, they didn't do that great of a job, and I'm not implying that with these at all because I think they did. I mean, I really enjoyed the local YMCA triathlons. I think they did a fine job. So why didn't people go enough? And I'm just using these as examples because I've done them. But we get pickleball tournaments that come to town, and pickleball's, the number one growing sport in the country right now. And it's like, people that are doing it are getting more engaged, they're getting healthier, they're getting more fit. I mean, so that's a beautiful thing. We have tennis tournaments come. We have the senior games come, and no, seniors isn't just, people that are older than 65, like, we think of with Social Security. No, senior games here or everywhere nationally is considered 50 and older. That's not that old. We have golf tournaments. I'm sure we probably have tennis tournaments. I mean, we have a lot of stuff that comes to town. I put on my Max Fit Games once a year, to try to promote a cause and to get people doing things outside of their comfort zone, not just the runs and not just the strength competitions, but to combine them. Oh, and we do have local physique competitions come to our area. So we do have things come. Now, if it were up to me, I'd have a lot more come to Volusia County and Daytona Beach than we do. I mean, I would love that. I would love to see there be like pickleball tournaments every weekend. I would love to see a triathlon series come through the summer. I would love to see more running races, although that's the one thing we do seem to get. I mean, I was at the Tiger Shark, is that what it's called? Oh boy, that's great. Anyway, we had a great race weekend with half marathon and two different 5Ks on Saturday and Sunday, which I went to, and I thought it was a lot of fun. I did both the 5Ks, and I was excited to do that because, as maybe most of you listeners know, that I was out with hernia surgery for the last month, so I was recovering, and I was finally, able to pick it up a little bit, pick up the intensity a little bit. So I enjoyed doing it, and I liked out, seeing friends and different people I've known, and people you race against. I mean, to me, I would love to see more of that. But I also know, being a member of the small business community, why certain people aren't going to bring their business if we're not going to support it. Word gets out, so well, they're not going to go. So the only thing we can really do as fitness enthusiasts, and I think almost every one of you that listen to this are into something, whether it be weightlifting, maybe you're into CrossFit, you're into running, you're into triathlons, you're into bicycle racing, you're maybe playing pickleball now, if you want to get out and compete, I'm just asking you to do it locally. Because, and wherever you live, do it locally. And I'm trying to convince you, like, this is a good thing, because if you do that, more and more companies will bring their business, and we're all going to enjoy it. It's going to be a good thing. I bust on social media a lot. I also use it as pretty decent, advertising and all that. And like everything in life, there's good and bad, right? And it's how we choose to use it. Absolutely. And one of the things I see often when I do happen to get on social media, and to be honest, I usually only put things on there for, fitness or advertising or whatever. And then, I'll go back and I'll check to see who's conversing with me on stuff like that. So I don't really scroll a whole lot. And for my sanity, that's probably a good thing. But, when I happen to see some people I know, I mean, there's a lot of people that go all over the place doing different things. And you know what? More power to you. Like, if you'd like those really big events, you like to go do these, big Ironman events. That's like the granddaddy of them all, of triathlon, as far as how a lot of people view it. That's great. That's wonderful. If you want to say, I did that, and that's something I've been wanting to do. Everybody's done that. Or if you do a marathon that you qualify for and you want to go to the big marathon, okay, great, But keep in mind, there's beauty to staying local too. I mean, personally, I'm not into all the hype of like the big companies selling the brands. Like, I'm not really into that. I mean, I've done 5 marathons personally, and my favorite, I think, well, I know for sure it wasn't Disney, and that's my point. And I've got no problem with Disney. I mean, it's fine. I mean, it's a good event to do. I had some fun. I had some memories because I did it with some friends. But I'd say that was the worst marathon I ever had, from a standpoint of difficulty as far as registering, and difficulty as far as like having to be in a corral at 4 a.m. in the morning and wait until 6 until the start, and there was no wiggle room on that. As far as price goes, it was the most expensive one I've ever done. I mean, so like, it's fine, but I would rate it as my worst, even though it's the most famous one I've ever done, because look, I'm not going to compete at anything against the world's greatest, or even the nation's greatest, or the area's greatest. So I don't need that to find competition. I can find some locally where it's perfectly fine. So, like, the best events I've ever done or participated in, or I can look back on and go, I enjoyed the most, were the ones that I see people that I know, and I've seen them for many, many years, and you can kind of catch up. And if you have any competitiveness to you, meaning that like you like to challenge yourself against other people, I mean, that's fine. I believe everything in moderation, but that's fine. But it's kind of cool when you know those people and you're kind of like friends and you're racing against them and you can compare yourself. I mean, those are all beautiful things. And you build a lot of camaraderie with these people over the years. I mean, I can think back to some of the older people who have, sadly passed in the last few years that I used to love to see at all the events. And it was like they go to every single event that you could imagine, and you would see them, and it was such a cool thing to see them out there competing all the time, enjoying themselves and pushing their love for fitness. And you can see that. I mean, I guess if you go to enough like national events, you kind of see that too. But I mean, do you really know those people? I mean, to me, there's just beauty in staying home and doing what's right in your backyard. And if your goal is to become more fit, if your goal is to become better at what you're doing, I'm sure you can do that. And you can do that with like so much less money than traveling abroad, and I think a lot of it just comes down to like, what is your motivation? I mean, do you love being physically fit and being able to like live it, participate in it? Or is your love more like you want to tell people or show people what you've done? And then maybe those bigger stages are necessary for you, I see the stickers all the time, on the backs of the cars that, people have done such and such an event. It's like, okay, more power to you. But like, if that's your motivation to show people like all these cool things you've done, I mean, I guess those things are going to remain like on the top of your list. But if your motivation is just to participate in what you love doing or what it has done for you, I'm pretty sure you can find what you need in your local areas. I don't think that it necessarily has to transpire very far outside of your local area. And I'm coming at you from 2 different directions here. One is a business owner. I know that like, if we want events to stay wherever we are, we're going to have to frequent them. And if we don't, they're probably not going to stick around. And if they don't stick around, you can't complain that there's no local events. you have to say, well, that's partly on me. I chose to save up this much money to go to this event, which cost me thousands of dollars in travel. And by doing that, I could have gone to 10 different local events, but I chose to do this. So, you can't complain when they go out of business. I mean, like I said, I know some of the triathlete community gets really upset that there's no local triathlons, but it's like, okay, but when they were here, did you guys go? Or did you go like to Hawaii and do the Hawaiian Ironman and all this stuff to say you did it and then wonder why your local events kind of dried up? So, and then I come at you from a person who likes to participate in these events, and just my own personal opinion is I enjoy the local so much more because it's people I know, people I get to see all the time, camaraderie that I built with them through the years, friendly competitions. I mean, to me, it's not even a close competition between the two, going outside my area and staying in my area. It's not even close, let alone the money spent. I mean, it's crazy like how much money we can spend to travel to an event when we simply have one in our backyard. All right, so that is my push for today. And speaking of your own backyard, we have the best garage door company in the state of Florida, and we have a local branch, Overhead Door of Daytona Beach, owned by Jeff and Zach Hawk, and they are by far the greatest, give you the best customer service. And if you need any help, give them a shout at overheaddordaytona.com.